Welcome to Bold and Beautiful with a glass of wine, the safe spot for women to come bare and be vulnerable and not be judged by it. Pouring their hearts out and speaking the truth of what they've been through and still going through to societal construct of what's expected of them. Together we're strong, together we'll overcome. So now, take a sip, take a deep breath, relax, block out the noise. Now let's talk. Hey y'all, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to another episode of Bold and Beautiful, the Glass of Wine podcast. My name is Flora Chiedo. I remain your host. I released an episode earlier, rape. I explained, had a sit down with some survivors in the Dorothy Njemanze Foundation. I spoke to them on a couple of things that we're going through. So if you go back to my previous episode, you'll see I spoke about going to Abuja and speaking to going to the shelter of the Dorothy Njemanze Foundation, and I spoke to a couple of survivors she's housing there in her shelter. She has this platform where she helps victims or survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. She provides this platform where they could feel safe to come to her, to come to the foundation if you're going through any type of gender or sexual based violence. Doesn't matter what the problem is. They need to understand that you don't have to stay in a situation just because you have nowhere else to go to. They can provide the type of medical care, legal care, and accommodation for you to survive and get yourself back together. They can't do this on their own, and they require funding to make it an environment where they can house as many people as possible, because right now there's also a limit to the amount of people they can actually accommodate. Anyways, I spoke to a couple of women that are in the shelter that are going through different things. I spoke to an underage girl in my previous episode that went through rape when she was 12, and she's now 16 and catering to a child on her own. This is a child catering to a child. So today I'm going to be talking on domestic violence. I'm going to be talking to two women. I spoke to two women on domestic violence. So domestic abuse or domestic violence, is a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. I feel like there are two things when it comes to domestic abuse and domestic violence. It's power and control. Whoever the perpetrator is just wants power and control over the other person. Domestic violence is any kind of behavior that a person uses or threatens to use to control an intimate partner. Like I said, the two key elements are threat and control. The abuse can be physical, it can be sexual, it can be emotional, it can be economic or psychological actions. It could be threats of actions that influences another person. It could be behaviors that frighten, intimidate, terrorize, manipulate, hurt, humiliate, blame, injure, or wound someone. Domestic abuse, it can happen to anyone. It can happen to anyone of any race, age, sexual orientation, religion, or gender. It can occur within a range of relationships, including couples who are married. People need to understand that people, even who are married, go through domestic violence. People that live together, people that are dating. Anyone can be a victim of domestic violence, really. Regardless of your age, race, gender, sexual orientation, faith, or class. Because victims of domestic violence, could also be it could be a child, it could be a relative, or any other household members. It's not just intimate partners that get very abusive to the other person. It could be a relative, it could be some member of your household, it could be anybody. Domestic violence or abuse can be mental, physical, economic, or sexual in nature. Incidents are rarely isolated, and usually they escalate in frequency and severity. Another thing I want to point out is domestic violence is not physical violence alone. That is what people need to understand. It's not physical violence alone, because the purpose of domestic violence is to gain power and control over a spouse, or over a partner, or over a family member, over the next person. The abuse is a learned behavior. It's not, I mean, some people would say, they did it because they were angry, or because, they were under the influence of drugs or alcohol, or some common excuses like that people use to justify their actions. But you need to understand that domestic abuse is a learned behavior. It is not caused by any of this. It's not caused by anger. You didn't do any of that because you were angry, because you're under the influence. You did it because it's a behavior that's just in you. Domestic violence, it can even happen in heterosexual and same-sex relationships. 1 in 15 children are exposed to intimate partners' violence every year. 90% of these children are eyewitness to this violence. People need to understand that, some children have to go through, experiencing either their father, hitting their mom, or treating their mom in a certain type of way. Globally, as many as 38% of all murders of women are committed by intimate partners. 53% of battered women still involved with the perpetrator experience self-blame for causing the violence. Some women feel they did something to get abused. They feel like, they are the reasons why they are being abused. Some other people even feel like, okay, because I hear sometimes people say things like, men, their power is in their hands, women, their power is in their mouth. Some, I don't know where they even come up with talks like this, because they just justify, people's actions, because it make you feel like it's right for you to hit somebody. Talking about men, their power is in their hands. What does that even mean? So your power is in your hands, so you have every right to hit the next person. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. People need to understand that, abusive men come from all walks of life. They may be successful in their career, they may be respected in their church or community. Abusive men, they often share some common characteristics, truthfully. They tend to be jealous, they tend to be possessive and easily angered. Many abusive men, they just believe that women are inferior. They believe that men are meant to dominate and control the woman. Typically, an abusive man can deny that the abuse, it's not happening. They would say it's not happening, or they try to minimize it to seem like, oh, it's nothing, or she provoked me to do it. They'll blame their partner and say, you made me do this. And then sometimes they even make the victims believe that they are the cause of, this abuse that is happening. You made me do this. If you don't talk to me in a certain type of way, I won't be hitting you, I won't be touching you. But at the end of the day, we have control over how we react to different situations. Like I said earlier, alcohol and drugs most times are often associated with domestic violence, but really, they do not cause it. An abusive man who drinks or uses drugs they have two different problems. If you're abusive, you're an abusive person, and you also abuse drugs and alcohol, you actually have two different problems. The number one problem you have is substance abuse, and the second problem you have is violence. And both must be treated separately. They cannot be treated, the same way, because you didn't do that because you're under the influence, or because you abused drug or you abused alcohol. You have an alcohol and drug problem, and you also have a violence problem with hitting people. When the general public thinks about domestic violence, they usually think in terms of physical assault alone. But really that's not what it is. We have different types of abuse. We have control, we have physical abuse, we have sexual abuse, we have emotional abuse and intimidation, we have isolation, we have verbal abuse, which is coercion, threat, and blame. Even using the male privilege, that's patriarchy, like, people know it as. We have economic abuse. While some relationships are clearly abusive from the outset, abuse often starts subtly, really, and it gets worse over time. If you're going through domestic violence, you could, in the relationship, you could be going through things like, name calling, insults, when the other person is putting you down, when your partner either prevents or discourages you from going to work or school or seeing family members or friends, when your partner tries to control how you spend money, where you go, what medicines you take, or what you wear, when your partner acts jealous or possessive, or your partner just constantly accuses you of being unfaithful, when there is no trust in the relationship, when your partner gets angry when drinking alcohol or using drugs or abusing any of this, when you're being threatened with violence or a weapon, when you're being beaten, you're being kicked, you're being slapped, choked, or I don't even know how people stay in relationships where people are hitting you, choking you. Someone is choking you, and you can feel that life is going out of you, but yet you just feel for some odd reason is that the person is going to change, or the person did not just mean it. Because at the end of the day, when people do things like this, they tend to like start apologizing and telling you, oh, I didn't mean it, I didn't mean to do all these things. Truthfully, all of this is going to lead to different things. Is that going to lead to depression? Is that going to lead to PTSD? Or last to lead to death? Because really, it will kill you one day. Sometimes it starts with a slap. It starts with something. It doesn't just start with like maybe full-blown beating one day. It just starts with something small. And how you react to the first slap, or the first punch, or the first push, or the first choke would determine how your partner would behave to you moving forward. Domestic violence puts your health and your baby's health at risk. If you are pregnant, for example, it puts your baby's health at risk. If you're pregnant and your partner constantly beats you, you can end up giving birth to a deformed child. The danger continues even after the baby is born. If your child isn't abused, even if your child has to like witness domestic violence, it's very harmful to the child's growth. Because growing up, children who grow up in abusive homes are more likely to be abused and have behavioral problems than other children. Truthfully, because at the end of the day, it's not what you tell the child that shapes the child. It's what the child sees from whoever is training the child, that the child will grow up. That's how the child will grow up, with whatever the child sees. As adults, they are more likely to become abusers, or they will think abuse is a normal part of relationships. There is no reason why you should be putting your child or your children through that. You might worry that telling the truth will endanger you or your child or other family members. Yes, sometimes we know that people stay in abusive relationships because if you leave your partner, I know there are cases where some partners like threaten you that if you leave me, I will kill you. If they leave me, I will do this. But at the end of the day, the truth is, even if you stay, they will still kill you. So one way or another, you need to look for a way to help your child, you help yourself and help your child. Because yes, it will break your family, but then you are saving your life and you're saving your child. If you recognize signs in your partner like embarrassment, or they're making fun of you in front of friends or family, they're putting down your accomplishments, all of these are signs of domestic violence. If you feel like sometimes you're in a relationship and you're feeling scared of how your partner may behave, you're constantly making excuses to other people for your partner's behavior, you believe that you can help your partner change. Truthfully, nobody will change if you're not ready to change. Marriage isn't going to change anybody. If you feel like, you're dating right now, when you get married, the person will change. You are in for a surprise, because it's going to get worse when you get married to this person. What you need to understand is, no one deserves to be abused. Nobody deserves to be abused. Abuse is not your fault. It's not your fault. You're not alone. You didn't do anything to warrant it. You didn't do anything to deserve. No, you don't deserve to be abused. Your mouth is not the reason you're being abused. An abusive person is an abusive person. It has nothing to do with the victim. Sometimes when all of this happens, you need to turn to somebody. You need to turn to a friend. You need to talk to somebody. Even if it's a family member, anybody you trust. Just reach out to somebody. Even if it's a healthcare provider, anybody. Could be a women's shelter or crisis center. It could be, going for counseling, or going to a mental health center. It could be even a local court. Anywhere you can go to get help, please do. Because it's very important that you get help. 15 to 49 years, women aged like 15 to 49 years who have been in a relationship have been subjected to physical or sexual violence by their intimate partner at least once in their lifetime. Globally, as many as 38% of all murders of women are committed by intimate partners. In addition to intimate partner violence, globally 6% of women report having been sexually assaulted by someone other than a partner. So yeah, let's get right into it. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay, so tell us what brought you here.
Okay, the issue of domestic violence brought me here. I've been with my intimate partner for like 7 years, and he has been practicing the violence on me. I've been enduring and believing him as he always pleaded and begged. that is a mistake, he will change, he will never try it again.
When did it start?
Okay, I think if I can remember very well, it started like the second month we met. Okay. So then we're just like friends. So he was like, it's a mistake. That is because I run my mouth too much. So I should forgive him. That it will never happen again. I said, okay, before any child issue came in. So he will stop for like some months before he would do that again, until it get to a point that it was becoming so frequent and I was becoming so tired of it, till the last incident happened that brought me to DNF. That one was really it was very much terrifying, coupled the fact that I was pregnant, and when he beat me, like the last beating he really beat me was so much, like is more, as in it was more than the former ones. And that the last one was, I was even pregnant. It was really, really bad, before my sister helped me and linked me to DNF that brought me here. When, like, that very day, he beat me like from 9 p.m. to like 6 a.m. in the morning.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, sorry. He beat you from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
in the morning. And he locked me up and seized my phone. He didn't allow me to come out. And he told me that I'm going to be inside the house for 4 days. That I won't come out. So I was very weak.
And nobody heard you in the compound?
There are neighbors, but they have really talked to him, tried to stop him, tried to beg him, plead with him. He refused. That he's going to show me the real person he is today. That I've brought out the beast inside of him. That he's going to show me the other side of him. So everybody got tired. Even at the point when I was trying to escape, I managed to escape from the door. He was running after me, chasing me, and he caught me and started dragging me back to the house, like dragging me on the floor, on the ground. That made me sustain so many bruises on my body. At that point, around that 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning, I was so weak because I didn't even eat. The previous night, I didn't eat. Stroke till that morning. Normally, because of my pregnancy, I eat a lot.
How many months pregnant were you when this happened?
I was 5 months then. Okay, I was 5 months then. So, and that very month, we're supposed to go for our traditional marriage. We have even prepared for everything. So, like, the following week of that week that he beat me was the week we're supposed to travel for the marriage. So, I had to, I had to like just change my mind. Like, no. This is a sign that it's not going to be good for me. Till I came to DNF. And how I came to DNF, that morning, I was so weak. In fact, I was so very weak. Like, I felt like I was managing to breathe till I didn't have a phone to reach anybody. And the neighbors I was calling out to, everybody was just ignoring me because they are actually scared of him. They don't want a problem with him because the way he threatened people in the compound with previous issues he has been having with them. So everybody is just trying to avoid his problem. So, and after a while, I saw a phone. A neighbor came to charge in our house. So I reached out to the phone. I used the phone. I borrowed credit on the house. People borrow credit on the phone. The phone doesn't have credit. The only person I could remember his number there was my dad, because my head was really aching me and it was so heavy. Couldn't really think very much, but I've known my dad's number like over 20 years in my head. So he was the only one I could remember his number. I called him and I managed to just speak with him. And at the point he heard me, the way he has never heard me speak on phone like that. He has to reach out to my sister that stays in Abuja too. So my sister now came to the house. It was when my sister came, she now opened the door. And when she saw me, she was like, Auntie.
Was he around when your sister came?
He was around. He was even sitting in the compound smoking with a neighbor, breaking and ranting like they have not known him. Or that even any of my family member come, he will kill that my family member and kill me. That today I really know whom he is. That it has not started. That it's just starting. So immediately my sister came, he was shouting and talking. Immediately my sister just entered the compound. He was so shocked. to see my sister. He just kept quiet, kept so mute as if it was not him that was talking. And he started begging my sister and said that please, it's the devil's work, like we should just sort out the issue here. My sister was just like, that it's not something we can resolve here, that is my dad that sent her, that he has to go and talk to my dad. And meanwhile, all the while he locked me inside, my dad has been calling him. After I reached out to my dad, he refused to pick my dad's call. He just dropped the call as if he just dropped the call as if it's nobody that is calling. Until when my sister came in, she was not like, we have to go to hospital and we have to make a police report. So I said, okay, let's go. As in, I was following her to the hospital and she was still trying to reach out to police. Police were not responding. They said they are coming. Till she now remember and said, she remember a contact she once picked from a tricycle, from a flyer that was pasted on a tricycle.
Okay.
And she said that they are they do things concerning domestic violence, but she don't really know, but let her call them. So she tried the number and one of DNF staff picked and talked to us and asked us, directed us to police hospital at Area 1. So when we went there, from there they pick up the case. From there, the staff we met helped me to run for the hospital things and took care of me that day. And the Uber we even took there, she was even the one that still paid. And during the process of my treatment and everything, I was asking her, I had to just pause and ask her that, please, how much am I going to pay for all these bills? That for now I don't have money. How is it going to be? She told me that no, that it's free, that I'm not paying a dime. I was shocked, and I told her that no, that she should please not to deceive me. She just tell me that I was telling her that it's like maybe if my partner is arrested, he'll be the one to pay for all this. She now said no, that it's not like that. So I didn't press forward because I was not really okay, but I just managed to ask her that till she brought after the treatment in the hospital, the injection, the scanning, and she now asked me if I would like to go back to my house. I said no. She now told me of a shelter, that if I would like to go to the shelter. I said yes. So she brought me here. So since then I've been here since March 10th.
Since March 10th of this year?
Of this year. With my 2 children.
Okay,
I have 2 boys.
Okay.
So at the process where my sister was trying to get me to the hospital and trying to reach out to the NF, I was with my children all through.
Okay, so when this last incident happened, you already had 2 kids.
I already have 2 kids.
And you were pregnant with the 3rd one.
Yes.
So where were your kids when this happened? When he locked you up and...
They're inside with me. They are crying.
So they were saying everything. How old are they?
They were saying, one is 4 years, one is 2 years. The one of 4 years can actually even narrate part of the story. In fact, a lot of the stories.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he can narrate it very well.
Wow,
and
a boy?
Yes, he's a boy. Even in the shelter, he used to narrate it to people. Like, I don't want my daddy to come here because my daddy will beat my mom and police will arrest my daddy. He used to say a lot. Sometimes he just stay and narrate so many stories to me, how his daddy used to do, how his daddy used to smoke, and I don't like it, how his daddy was dragging me on the floor, how his daddy slapped me, and he told his auntie in the school. He can narrate a lot.
So since you came here, has he ever tried to reach out to you?
Yeah, the very first week and second week we came here, he blocked me on all social media, every means I could reach him, because that very day police actually chased him. Because the first hospital we went to before we could reach out to DNF was close to a police station. So the nurse that attended to me told me that they can't attend to me like this in this my condition. When they saw me, that I have to bring a police report because I'm pregnant, that if they do anything on me and anything goes wrong, they'll be held responsible for it. So when at that time he followed us to the hospital. So immediately he heard that we have to bring
that
very day, because he has been following since when my sister came to the house. He has been following us around, begging, pleading that we should just come back to the house, that he'll get a nurse to treat me in the house, so we'll settle the case. So but when we get to the house, immediately he heard that the nurse said we should make police report. Then we were coming out. He was trying to convince me that please, we should just avoid police. We should not take it to police. We should settle it. that please. So, and the police station and the hospital shares the same fence. So it didn't take us time to just get to the police station. When we are entering the police station, from there he took off and ran away. Yes.
But did you report?
No, when we get there, when we get to the police, so we had to make statement. I just told my sister, no, let's forget about this police thing. That at the end of the story today, at the end of the story, we don't even have money to spend, and the only advice they will give me is that I should just, since we are not legally married, they will only advise me to go and stay on my own and let him stay on his own. And so because I've made police report before, like twice, so it's still the same result. So my sister was now like, okay, that was when my sister now remembered of the number she picked from a tricycle, which happened to be DNF number. So she now called. From there, they now gave us direction. The DNF star that picked her call gave us direction to where she is, the police station, the police hospital she is at Area 1. So since that day he ran away, he didn't reach me for like 2 weeks. He didn't reach out to me at all. His numbers were off. He blocked me on both WhatsApps and Facebook, so we were not communicating. I could only reach out to his family and told his family that okay, I'll be with the kids and see what happened, and they should reach out to him to send money for the kids for feeding. Before that very day, I saw his alert of okay, but he didn't talk. He just sent alert. That is all. He didn't even call again until some days before he now started calling and say, how are you? How are you doing? How are my kids? So I was now asking him like, okay, if I die, this is what would have happened. This is how you would have abandoned me. So he didn't call. Since then, he has been trying to beg. He has been pleading, seriously pleading. But I told him that it's not going to be possible the way he wanted, that I should withdraw the case. We should come and settle it as family case. I said no. I've given you enough time, many chances for us to make peace, for us to even be settling the case as family.
All this while, when he was always beating you, were you telling people about it?
I told some of my church members. I told them, and his family, his mother and his sisters,
and what did they say?
His brothers. They will only advise me and say that I should try to see how I can be following him, be patient with him, since he's a hot-tempered person. The sister will be giving me a kind of advice like as if I'm not good in handling a home. They always black you.
And your own family, did you tell them about it?
No.
You never told them about it all this while?
No, I didn't tell anybody. It was only once when my mother visited, she witnessed it.
She witnessed it,
like she witnessed
he beats you in front of your mother?
Yes. She witnessed
what happened?
it. My mom.
Yes.
My mom was so mad that day. My mom wanted to go and call for a police, but she went to call a church member. She knew they are very close to me, very much. So they came into the issue. My mom got angry and left safe. And my mom told me that okay, I'm the one that know how the fire is burning me. If I'm tired, I will know the road to her house. That she will not be the one that will tell me what is good for me. But if it's her, that this one is not a husband material, that he can never accept this kind of a beast as a husband to me, that she's so disappointed, that she's so surprised I ended up with somebody like this. So she was very angry. Even when after she left, she kept on calling me and saying, just know that boy is not your husband. Forget about the issue that you have had kids with him. If it's children, you can bring them from, I'll take care of them so you can live your life and go and arrange your life. But that she has not seen, she's not seen him to be my husband at all. That she knows that God will help me and set me free out of the guy's hand. Yes, that was when my mom witnessed it, and that was when I now opened up to my mom, told her a lot. She was so shocked, like, is this what I'm passing through? I said yes. And from there my dad got to hear it. So even when we were preparing for the traditional marriage, when we went to meet my dad was not happy, but he was not saying anything. He just said that God should take control. That he only prayed that God should, but he's not happy, but he don't want to come out openly like as if he's one making decision for me. Yes. till that last time that the last incident happened.
How has it affected you? And how do you think it's affected your kids?
It has affected me because it has really affected me because it just make me to like, as if nothing was working in my life, as if I was just stunned. Everything about my life was just stunned. The kind of dreams, the visions I have in life, I could not pursue them. The whole thing was just weighing me down because that was as if I was buried inside a kind of a life I never dreamed of, and I've been struggling to come out, but no way. I've been struggling to come out. Even so many times I've made attempt to leave, but I'll be thinking, where will I stay? The house I'll stay. How will I won't have money to rent a house. What about my kid? If it's only me, it would have been easy for me to just go. But what about my children? I will be thinking about their school. Because the only good thing about him is that he provides financially. That's the only good thing I can say about him. So I'll be because of the financial aspect, I'll still stay back and say, okay, let me work and be saving up. But even if the little I'm working, I can't save much from it.
Was there any time? So I want to just ask this: was there any time like you felt you deserved, like there's any time he hit you and you felt you deserved it?
No, there was never a time. Okay. I'm always surprised, like, what did I do that I deserve this kind of maltreating? That I used to even ask him sometimes, like, what is that thing I like? Is there another thing aside the way I'm living with you that you normally get you angry to just treat me messy and just treat me anyhow like this? What is that? He will not like, sorry, Mama, please, sorry, just be patient for me, pray for me, I will change. I always ask him that I know I don't deserve this that you are doing to me, but I know time will come, it will come to an end.
So staying here at the shelter, how has it changed for you and your children?
Well, when I came to the shelter, it has changed a lot too, because I could reason well, I have good focus, and something started working for me. Like as if I got something started working for me. I started thinking normal. I realized that I've been living a life of like I'm alive, I was not alive. Yeah. So when I came into the shelter, first of all, the first thing I gained was peace of mind. Because not like if I'm in the house, even sometimes I hear his voice or maybe any little argument, the way my heart will be panting. Sometimes when I was there at a point, the only thing I would just be feeling like I should just die, I beg and forget, so that I would just go out of this messy life, because this is a messed up life. So all that feeling stopped, the feeling of feeling like let me just die, it stopped. I started seeing life like I started seeing the importance of living. I was happy when I came here. I was free. I sleep well. I gained inner peace of mind when I came here. The first thing, then from then my business was working for me. I was now focused on my hand. I was focused. When a customer call me, if I go, the way I now do my work is now different because I'm concentrating. I'm not there thinking like I'm working. Then I'll be thinking if I go back home today, what I'm going to face. I was also free and calm. I was peaceful within me. And even when my children came, when I saw them, they liked the environment. They play a lot. I have some videos when we came in. I used to video. They'll be happy.
Are they in school?
Yeah, they were in school then.
Okay.
But since
so after that,
they stopped going to school up till now. Well,
okay. So what's one thing you would want us to like do?
Honestly, like the three major things I really, if I will get help, I'll be happy. My accommodation, then business empowerment, then my children getting back to school.
Getting back to school.
Yeah, because every day, Dan keep asking me, Mama, when are we going to school? You told me that school is resuming on the 6th. You told me Monday, you'll be calculating for me. I told him that, yes, don't worry, we'll go back to he will say, okay, see, everybody's going to school, I'm not going to school. That sometimes in the morning, I'll make sure he doesn't look through the window to see school buses passing. Because anytime he just sees school buses passing, he'll like, Mama, is that my school bus? I will just tell him, hey, it's your school bus, very soon you'll join them. So, okay. So I really love him to go back. They should go back. The kids mainly should go back to school.
Is there any difficulty you have with staying here? Is there any difficulty, anything?
No. There's no difficulty. If I'm to compare, I can't compare it with the difficulty that I escaped. So
Yes.
there's no difficulty.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
We just heard how our guest went through domestic violence in the hands of her partner for 7 years. Like, according to her, the month of when they started dating, the guy started hitting her. He started abusing her. Like, there was no reason for her to remain in that relationship. The minute she noticed it, she should have left. Because the minute anybody hits you, they hit you the first time. If they see that they see your reaction to it, you stay and then you're okay with it, or they beg you. Because the truth is, when they hit you, they won't hit you and then, behave like nothing happened. They will hit you and then the next thing they will start begging you and telling you, I'm so sorry, it won't happen again. The truth is, it will still happen again. They will hit you. See, it starts with a slap. From then, they will start hitting your head on the wall. I remember a friend telling me how her auntie was abused by her partner, where according to that one, the man, I think he was a police officer or something, so he had a gun and he was always shoot. I mean, it's not funny, but when you hear this story, sometimes I'm like, yo, what? Like, according to what she said, the man is always shooting at her. Imagine having to shoot at the auntie, and every time she's always trying to dodge bullets. Like, how do you dodge bullets in your relationships? They said if you go to their houses, you will see the walls. The walls you would see like bullet holes everywhere in the house, because he's always shooting at her, she's always dodging. How do you stay in that type of relationship? It makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely, like, you don't deserve it. Nobody deserves you risking your life like that for. Trust me, there are so many other men in this life that are decent and would not have to put you through all of that. Because whatever is the reason you think, you don't want to leave this person, he will kill you one day. We've had so many situations. Even the situation right now of Sinachi that is still in court, where her husband, according to the story of her family member, her husband beat her to death. This is someone that is respected. This is someone that is cherished. People that, when anybody hears like that Ekweme song come up, like, people love to listen to it. People look forward to her part in that song. But now that song, when that song comes up, it used to be like the it thing then. Like, you listen to it and you feel like so much, you feel like the Holy Ghost in you. But now, listen to that song, you're so sad. Like, how do you even listen to that song, having to have that thought in your head that her husband beat her to death? It's so sad. Like, nobody deserves that. People need to understand that nobody deserves that. The rate at which, we record domestic violence a day in the world is crazy. Intimate partners, both physical, sexual, and psychological, and sexual violence, they cause like serious short and long-term physical, mental, sexual, and reproductive health problems for women. They also affect their children's health and well-being. This violence leads to high social and economic cost for women, their families, and societies. This violence can cause like fatal outcomes like homicide or suicide. It can lead to injuries, with 42% of women experiencing intimate partner violence. They report an injury as a consequence of this violence. It leads to like unintended pregnancies, induced abortions. It leads to like gynecological problems. Intimate partner violence in pregnancy also increases like the likelihood of miscarriage. Of course, how do you even beat a pregnant woman? She's pregnant and you still beat her to pulp. I have a schoolmate that I went to secondary school with, and I remember one time I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw Instablog carry a story about, because I remember when she posted a picture of her marriage, when she got married, a picture of her wedding. I saw she and her husband. So when I saw that picture, I recognized that picture from seeing it like a few years back. And I was even like, it's on the Instablog posted her today. What's up? What's going on? Only for me to read the caption. And the caption was, popular MC or popular one thing beats pregnant wife to death, I closed my Instagram immediately. I was like, God forbid, God forbid. That's what I just kept saying, God forbid, God forbid. And then when I reached out, to a couple of people that, we all went to school with, it was confirmed that the guy actually beat her to death. I heard this story and I was like, what the hell? And according to what we heard, he's been doing this for a while. He's been beating her since their first child, and she got pregnant with the second one. He was always beating her. She wasn't telling a lot of people about it until the guy beat her to death. But she had pictures. I think she confided in one or two persons who had like the real story of the entire situation. And he succeeded in beating her to death. Like, nobody deserves that. You have so much, ahead of you as a woman. You have so much to do, or so much to accomplish, that truthfully, you don't even need anybody to accomplish any of that. You don't have to stay in that situation and feel like if you leave that situation right now, people would laugh at you or people will mock you. Because trust me, if they beat you to death and you die, people would move on. That's the truth. Even your partner will move on. They will go ahead to marry somebody else and live happily ever after. But what did you get out of it? Death. And sometimes these women die and leave kids behind. They leave these kids for who to take care of? Do you expect your abusive partner to be the one to take care of your child? So they groom your child to be abusive also growing up? It makes absolutely no sense. Nobody deserves any of that. Nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this adds up to more than 10 million women and children. Now, this is 10 million people being abused in just one country. Imagine the percentage of people that are being abused and are even being killed in the world. On a typical day, for example, there are more than 20,000 phone calls that are being placed to domestic violence hotlines nationwide. These are our guests, for example. She told us how I think the next episode I'm going to be releasing, we're going to hear how our guest will talk about how her second child started having the rage of the father. These kids, they get to see all of this. They get to experience all of this. And truthfully, they do not deserve to go through all of this. And no woman deserves to go through all of this. I wish, people can reach out more, speak no matter what. Tell somebody about it. Let somebody help you out of it. If you feel you're even being threatened in the relationship, in the sense that your partner is telling you, if you leave me, I will kill you. If you take my kids away, I will kill you. Or one thing, report to somebody you can confide in and someone that can help you out of it. Because truthfully, death at the end of the day is never worth it. It's not worth losing your life over someone that's not even worth it at all. Anyways, so with this our guest, she has like about 2 kids, and then she's pregnant right now. She needs help. All she needs is just something that could mobilize her to, because at the end of the day, these women, they don't just want you to like hand money over to them. They just want something they can do that can generate income for themselves and their kids. So in whatever way that, anybody listening could help, whatever way you can reach out to the Dorothy Njemanzi Foundation. If you want to reach out to me personally, that's fine. You can reach out to me. We could together try, because at the end of the day, all we can do is one person at a time. All we have to do is just our own bits. I'm doing my own beats. Dorothy is doing her own beats. Even you listening can also do your own beats. All you have to do is just help whoever you can help. Even if it's not the Dorothy Njemanzi Foundation, if it's somebody beside you, somebody around you that needs help with domestic violence, please help. If you also are going through domestic violence, please speak to somebody. Do not die in silence. It's never worth it in the end. It's never worth it in the end, trust me. Imagine having to beat somebody from 9 p.m. to 6. That is still, like, I can't even process that in my head. Beating a pregnant woman from 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. That is wickedness from the pit of hell. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So, That's about it for this particular episode. I will be releasing another one where I spoke to the woman that has 3 kids that went through domestic violence and why she left. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Thank you for everyone that has reached out, for everyone that has supported in one way or another, supported the foundation. Thank you so very much. We really do appreciate. We do not take it for granted. Thank you so much, and thank you also for tuning in. Thank you for listening. My name is Flora Chiedo. This is Bold and Beautiful with a Glass of Wine podcast, and I am signing out.